Hi everyone, Cidrik from PMML, a real estate broker specialized in mainly in industrial. I'm with Zain Jafry, who works for Sierra. So Zain, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You came from Toronto.
That's right.
Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure.
Before we begin?
Yeah, let me tell you about myself and Fiera. I'm the Zain, work at Fiera. I'm the Director of Investments. At Fiera Capital, we're a global asset manager. We manage over 150 billion of assets globally, internationally. I work on the Canadian Fiera real estate side, so look to acquire all kind of real estate across Canada. The Canadian Fiera real estate platform is around 9 billion of assets under management. We've got income funds, development funds, separately managed accounts. Within of that 9 billion of the income fund, 4.5 billion is our core fund, which we do all asset classes. So industrial, office, retail, development, residential across Canada. And then we've got a separate industrial fund, which is around $1 billion. And on top of that, the opportunity fund, which is a development component, as well as debt funds.
So you cover all aspects of commercial real estate?
Yeah, and from my side, I'm more focused on the income funds and the separately management accounts of the income producing property side. We've got a separate development team that looks at specific development projects as well. Okay. That's kind of, we work very closely together on everything, but that's how it's kind of organized.
Great. And looking back at the pandemic and compared to now, you know, what's changed over the year for you, for your organization, and for an investment fund that works?
Yeah, you've seen quite a bit of changes in real estate as a whole, and within the separate asset classes as well. Overall, I would say since we've been coming out of the pandemic, the last 7 months, you've been in a higher interest rate environment and rising rate environment. You've really seen transactions kind of cool down since then. And a lot of institutions have been more quiet and more opportunistic. And I think for us, let's just say over the last year, we're still looking to deploy capital, but there's different asset classes that we're more focused on. As I said, we'll look at all asset classes, and we've been very active on the industrial side, mostly because the fundamentals in industrial have been really good. Yeah. From the demand and supply side, and like across Canada, on a variety of different primary and secondary markets, you've seen really strong demand and constricted supply, which has led to pretty good rental growth over the last decade or so. So we've been very active on that side. And on the multifamily side as well, you've seen really good demand and supply fundamentals as well. So for us, I would say through the pandemic and even now, industrial and multifamily is what asset classes we've liked. Yeah. Office, you've seen a little bit of, it's the most cyclical asset class. And through the pandemic, not only were you seeing a lot of supply coming up, you also see now the uncertainty of demand from work from home, and you've definitely seen challenges on the leasing side where TIs are coming up, and you're seeing vacancies start to come up a little bit. And for us, I think until we get some traction on the leasing side, we'll probably be more focused on industrial, multifamily, and even grocery anchored retail is kind of the asset classes that we like.
And since you invest across Canada, is there a big difference between each market, like, you know, bigger market like Montreal, Toronto, Calgary, Vancouver?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like real estate is very simple, and it all has the same demand and supply fundamentals. But within each market, there's a little bit of nuances. I mean, you look at multifamily, markets like Toronto, Vancouver, and even Montreal on the island, there's supply constrained markets where Toronto, you got the Greenbelt, Vancouver, you got the ocean, Montreal, you got the island. And those areas where you get that constriction of supply, we kind of like the kind of area because it leads to increased rental rate growth as well. So, and you're seeing the same thing I mean, you look at industrial, it's a similar story across many different markets where the cost of construction is leading to a kind of lower supply that's not able to meet up with the demand. So you're just seeing the same thing where it's like too much demand and not enough supply to meet that demand. And it's a very consistent story across Canada. But once again, every market is a little bit nuances and a little bit different. But for that reason, we're usually pretty opportunistic in looking at many different markets. and where we see opportunities, we kind of jump on those.
Okay. And let's say for industrial, what is the main thing that you're looking for, except maybe obviously the cap rate, rentability, and everything? But besides that, what is the main, you know, the type of asset, the location? Is it the location, the clear height in the warehouse? It's what's the main concern for you? What do you looking for mainly?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we want to maximize our rents that we're able to get at any kind of space. So properties where you can maximize rents, so higher ceiling heights, good accessibility, good accessibility to highways and infrastructure, and so location, all that things are important. Depending on the fund, we have different mandates and different criteria. On our core fund, we're looking at more large bay kind of product, whereas in our industrial fund, it's more small bay to mid bay kind of product that we look at. So different nuances, but across the spectrum, we look at all industrial product. And as you said before, it's a product where we think is super leasable and that we can get attractive prices on it, which has been before the pandemic and even during the pandemic, super challenging because there was a very huge demand for that kind of product. So you're incredibly competitive. Through, I would say, the end of the pandemic, you're seeing like a lot more opportunities, a little bit more shallower bids in there. So you've definitely seen some opportunities to get some pretty good, attractive pricing on that.
All right. And where do you see Fiera in the future? What do you see, and where do you see the market in the, you know, the next year? And where do you see Fiera, you know, navigate in what we see right now, the troubling with the interest rate and everything? And that's it. So where do you see yourself? Well, Fiera in the future with the environment that we are right now?
Yeah, good question. Like, we're definitely cognizant that we're approaching an environment where you're rising interest rates and you're probably approaching a potential recession in the near to medium term. With that in mind, like, we're still cautiously looking to deploy capital and still seeing a lot of opportunities, particularly in asset classes and markets where you're seeing really good fundamentals. We're actively looking at that, and I would say multifamily, industrial, particularly like markets like Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, and even secondary cities on the industrial side where you're seeing those positive fundamentals. We're very think that even if we if you do get into a recession, as long as you're still seeing like for us, like demand side on the multifamily, for instance, like still seeing good immigration coming into these major cities, and like I think there's still going to be opportunity even in a recessionary environment. So we're still seeing some. I think there can be opportunities there. And to be honest, even if we get into recession, I think it's just more opportunity to get into some products at attractive prices. So we're in a position where right now we're being very cautious in how we deploy capital. We were cautious about the environment and know that things could get potentially more challenging. But with that, I think there's more opportunity. So we're kind of ready to capitalize on that opportunity. Okay.
So you're cautious, but you still invest.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's
So we've been particularly on our industrial fund. We've been pretty active. Even on our core fund, we've closed some transactions in the first quarter, and we do have some portfolios that we're looking at right now pretty seriously. But I would say we're seeing in the market now a lot of opportunities, and for us, we're being very cautious on how we deploy our next set of capital, but definitely looking at everything, and I think there will be more opportunities later at the latter half of this year.
All right. Yeah. So great. So thank you for being here.
Nice.
And all the best at Fiera.
Thank you.
Real estate for the next years.
I appreciate you having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, handshake.